All right. We'll see what happens
Hopefully, we'll see.
Cool.
I do have a
Hey!
webcam. I should switch to it.
All right.
Hey!
There we are.
Yay.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 278. Your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats will run on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize my channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. All right.
Yes.
John's
All
camera's
right.
charged. Mine is decided to crap out for some reason. Worked fine last week. The internets didn't work fine last week, but all of a sudden, this camera will not output HDMI. So hopefully that's not a permanent thing, but I've tried to use it twice this week now, and both times it didn't want to work on either of my capture cards, any of my 6 HDMI input devices that are on my PC, nothing. So, it's not the cable, it's not the power adapter. I'm running out of variables.
User end. What?
Yeah. At this point, it probably could be. I am so overworked and beyond tired right now. Trying to get a couple of videos out before I go to PDX LAN. I have a video that I'm going to be partially shooting at PDX LAN. I have a case mod that I'm finishing that some may remember from literally 27 months ago I started that project. It's finally almost completely done, and I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon. So, how you doing, John?
I'm hungry, Jeff. Very hungry.
I imagine. I can definitely imagine. Yeah, for those who have not been tuning into Hops and Brews and didn't see John's first day on this show back in March, John is doing a beer diet. So tell us a little bit about that. Just kind of catch us up.
Yeah, so last year I did a infamous 46-day long only beer diet. Sorry for the noise. And so where I lost over 32 pounds, just only surviving off of water and beer. This year, nothing something a little less extreme, but still very, very well effective. I am doing what's called a 1 meal a day beer diet. So I'm having a very small meal at dinner time, because the biggest complaint I got from my family was I didn't get to have dinner with them. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I will have some protein during dinner time. I basically have cut out all carbs, no bread. So usually it's like a little bit of rice or a vegetable, and then a lot of meats, usually chicken or roast of some kind, or hamburger. But then after that, I don't eat for 23 and a half hours. The only other calories I can consume are beer. So most of my meals are beer.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, for some people that's the dream. For other people that might be a little odd, a little too much. As much as I love beer, I don't know that I could do it. But
it's interesting.
But I love the idea of it.
Yeah. This one is definitely different than last year. I did a week, because I'm doing it short. I'm only doing 31 days. I'm not doing like a mid halfway through, 3 weeks through video. I did I'm 1 week in, and then I'm just going to give a final results. The nice part about this one is I did blood work beforehand, and I'll be doing some blood work Friday, so you'll see the very end process. If there's any change, it's a liver panel, it's a blood work panel, all the works through, so we'll be able to see the difference in that. So I'm going to be hopefully releasing the results of that in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I love all the comments that we get on here that we drink too much or we're alcoholic and things like that, because people have to realize you're seeing literally a snippet in time of my life. And
Yeah.
I don't drink a lot outside of the show. You think I drink a lot because the only time you ever see me, I have a beer in my hand.
Yeah,
But
well,
that's on
that's
you.
the other thing. Everyone's telling me like I'll do now a lot of YouTube shorts or something. I'm like, hey, here's the beer and drink, and they're like, this is the way to alcoholism. I was like, no, you know how much water I consume
Yeah.
in between all of this? I consume over 100 ounces a day. I consume basically a gallon of water a day.
Hmm.
And it's just, trust me, I'm very well hydrated.
Yeah. Yeah, and I constantly have I have 2 bottles of water at my feet right now. Like, that's how much
Yeah.
water that I drink on an average day. So
So yeah, it's not like we're pounding down this alcohol and going through it all the time.
I mean, that is the dream, but
Yeah,
I
right,
still
yeah,
have to live.
yeah, well, that's work. It's required per video, Jeff.
That's right.
Oh.
That's right. Actually, the last video I posted didn't have any beer in it. We're still in Mixology March, but I started shooting that video at 9 in the morning, and I went, it's supposed to be Mixology March. Maybe I'll do no, screw it. I have too much to do today. I just can't.
Well, that was funny. We talked about this when my last video I was on of the Athletic Brewery, and they sent me stuff, and that, because it has protein
Mhm.
and coffee in it, it was like, oh, this actually really helps in the morning, and it's non-alcoholic.
Nice.
So it's beer, it's got some protein,
Yeah.
it's got calories, got a little bit of caffeine, and it's non-alcoholic. So I can drink this in the morning and still drive to work.
There you go.
It was pretty great.
Nice. Well, fortunately, right now I can have a drink, and I kind of want one. So
I want one too.
yeah, do you want to start us off?
I will. So a video of this will be coming out next week, but today I will be enjoying Stone's Enjoy by
Ooh,
420 double IPA.
it is that time of year.
It is that time of year. So you could probably guess what my next beer will be too.
It is that
very
time of year.
similar- It is that time of year.
Can I just say something Sierra Nevada something
something Sierra Nevada
something wears
Lagunitas.
blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, dead to rights. All right. Today, I think, since this is the last Talking Heads of Mixology March, I think I want to send it off right. I think I'm going to make a sazerac. So people have been looking at that bottle of absinthe behind me for quite a while, and I've actually brought it down a couple of times to show people, no, it's real absinthe, like actually refined wormwood, absinthe, 110 proof. But it's the real stuff. So, how do you make a sazerac? Let me pull up my list right here because I actually closed my window. It's rye whiskey, it's brandy, it's absinthe, it's a little bit of simple syrup, and it's 2 types of bitters, Peychaud's and Angostura. There we go. Now, I actually did a quick piece on the sazerac last year during an actual craft computing video, where I said, here's the way I make my sazerac, and people from New Orleans are going to have to excuse me because I think the traditional way is a little bit wrong with modern ingredients, because the sazerac dates all the way back to 1800 and has official documentation as early as 1838. But they call for a sugar cube, and sugar cubes do not dissolve in cold water. You have to have warm water to dissolve them. What's the best replacement for a sugar cube? Simple syrup. It's just pre-dissolved sugar. That's all it is. So I use simple syrup, but I do start out with basically the lightest little splash of absinthe. Literally about that much. And you swirl it around your glass and get it all up on the rim, and you give your glass a really good coating of it. This is maybe a 1/4 ounce. It's no more than that. And you just want to coat the surface of your glass and then let it sit.
Give it that green legging.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how much absinthe you use. Moving on, we're going to use 1.5 ounces of rye. Yet again, I do prefer a very high proof rye in a sazerac. I'm using a 100 proof bottled and bond Rittenhouse. Even a little stronger, even a little higher proofage would be excellent. I've got a 113 rye up there. I think I've also got a 117 up on the shelf. Those are excellent, but this bottle you can find literally anywhere, so I think we're going to use that today. So we need 1.5 ounces of that. We're going to do 1.5 ounces of brandy or cognac. Again, I'm using a Corbel cognac. So we're going to use 1.5 ounces of that. Okay. We're going to dash 3 dashes of Angostura. You can tell I like cocktails because I buy the Angostura in the $25 bottles. And 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. This is old-timey Peychaud's bitters. There we go. And then just a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. There we go. And we're going to give that a stir. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my mixing glass. I think it's upstairs, maybe in the dishwasher. But normally, stir this into mixing glass, and then you're going to strain it neat into a rocks glass. So, give that a good stir there. Take my strainer, and this is the glass that I have all the absinthe in. Oop, as I spill it onto my desk. I'm going to give that one last coat. And then pour in. And there you have my version of the sazerac.
That would be an interesting beer flavor.
It really would be. Now, absinthe, for the most part, gives off a lot of black licorice type flavor. If you're not a fan of black licorice, and I mean like real strong, grow hair on your back black licorice, you're probably not going to like a sazerac. You're probably not going to like absinthe. But for those who do like that flavor and like a little super savory fig type, real deep, rich fruitiness, with a little bit of citrus on top, a little bit of orange, a little bit of playful cinnamon and things like that. This is a fantastically well-balanced drink. It's freaking delicious. And there's a reason it was copyrighted back in 1900 by the Sazerac Company and is the official drink of New Orleans. So, good stuff. Oh. Yes. That is what I needed.
We had 2 super chats already.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
That absinthe went right up my nose.
That's the best way to consume it.
Yeah.
That's the true New Orleans way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. And
maybe that was a different part of New Orleans. I don't remember.
It's the deep underground.
Right.
We have our traditional $2 from Kren, our Aussie bucks.
Couple Aussie bucks.
Night,
Thank
mates.
you, Kren.
What's this about Vegemite at PDX Land?
So I got a care package from Kren. Gosh, was that around Christmas time? It's been a while. But he sent me a bottle of Vegemite, and I told him that I'm going to be taking the Vegemite to PDX Land, and we're going to have Vegemite and toast. So one of these days, we're gonna invade the continental breakfast, and I'm gonna have some Vegemite on my toast. And don't worry, I'll film it, and I'll put it up on the Discord for you.
I mean,
that's a craft extra
I've had
video,
Vegemite,
or maybe even a premium video.
Well, there you go. And make it a what's Linus's what's his channel?
Linus Tech Tips, or is it Tesla? I forget.
Yeah, right. No, it's
sorry if you're going for a segue. There was no better opportunity there.
I know.
Like this segue to our sponsor.
Oh yeah. Well, we had another one. But we had a Cap and Tack is also, he's got a rum and coke tonight. $2. Thank you very much, sir. A very
unrestricting drink. Do you have a rum and coke, or do you have a true Cuba Libre? The only difference is you add rum and bitters, or sorry, add lime and bitters, which is my favorite way to have a rum and coke. Is you get a good middle of the road spiced rum, something like a Sailor Jerry, or maybe even like a Blackjack, and ounce and a half of that. You do 2 or 3 dashes of Angostura. You squeeze half of a lime into it, drop the lime into it, and then top with Coke. Now you have a Cuba Libre, and it's fancy.
That is good. He is having a Don Q Crystal rum. He said he's going on the cheap end for him. So, good for you, sir. Good for you. Had a couple of people talk about some of their drinks. Novella has Turning Point Brewing Texas size 10-4 quadruple IPA, 12.4%.
Good God.
4.2 on Untapped. He is going for it early.
Going hard on a Wednesday night. Elma says he wishes he had a bottle for water. Don't worry, yours is actually 2 or 3 down on my list is all from here on out. I'm just going down my list of who ordered and where it's at. And yours is actually getting cut, possibly even tomorrow. And we're going to start shipping bottles on Monday.
If you don't know what he's talking about, it's the sweet-looking Craft Computing water bottle that you can get, a very limited amount, but they are handcrafted by Craft Computing and Rhett themselves. It is laser etched. That is not a sticker.
Not screen print.
That stuff is cool. Yeah, that is good quality stuff right there. And it is, I believe, your own or just a proprietary design?
I licensed the general circuitry of this, but there's a lot of heavy customization to, number one, make it mine, and also to perfectly wrap the bottle. So it's a seamless design. Took a hell of a lot of design work to get everything just right.
You will not find a generic design and then the slapped Craft Computing on it. This is highly made. Look at that. There's detail all over the place.
Look at the,
if you want that,
chip in there with my logo. There's every single trace terminates somewhere. Like that's what took a lot of the work, was making sure it wasn't just like, oh, that's cute, but it doesn't make any sense. Well, it may not make electrical sense, but at least point A reaches point B. And that's what I really wanted. And everything, like I said, it's a full wrap design. So I'm selling these exclusive through Patreon and Floatplane. Sorry, this one's not going to be available for mass consumption, at least not yet. But within the next 30 days, I have a super, super exciting merch announcement. And I'll give you a teaser in that we are bringing merch production and distribution 100% in-house. Some of those pieces I will be making myself. I'll water bottles, although probably not. I don't know if I'll sell these ever again. Or maybe I'll leave them exclusive to the Patreon.
AKA limited.
Yeah, because these are a lot of work. Even with getting my machine settings dialed in, these are a lot of work. But I do have some laser etch stuff that I'm going to be bringing to the store. I'm going to be making my own glassware and selling that.
Nice.
I haven't been totally thrilled with my merchandise. I feel it's a little overpriced and it's not making me very much money anyway. And I've had a couple issues with some of the products that I'm selling, and I'm not thrilled about it. So what better way to quality control than to do it yourself? So that's what we're going to be doing. Lots of announcements here on the channel. There will actually be a full video along with an explanation of why we're doing this, which leads to some much more exciting news, even more exciting than like, hey, new merch and cheaper prices and whatnot, that are going to be some huge news for the channel. So please stay tuned. Watch for that video. That will actually be a dedicated video about the merch and about why I'm doing it. So
that'll be fun. Good times. Like it. So yeah. So also, so you got a members. I'm just scuttering. So whatever. Let's get into the news. we're 27 minutes in, or actually more like 20 minutes in.
23 by my watch. Yeah. But yeah, let's get into the news. Speaking of segues,
I botched it.
Popular YouTube channel Linus Tech Tips. Never heard of him.
Caught in his underwear.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't even that.
I know. We don't know.
Caught with his pants down, you could say.
There we go. Hey.
I don't want to make light of the situation too much. Like now that it's over, we can kind of laugh and whatnot. But in the moment, this was a very serious thing, and actually an issue that YouTube has been inundated with for quite some time. And this is targeted spear phishing. This is... Yes, Linus Tech Tips was hacked, but it's not because someone left a password written down somewhere, or they did something they shouldn't have done, or, you know, someone, you know, donned a ski mask and infiltrated their studios at night, and, you know, or he has horrible server protection or whatever. No, this was an email correspondence with a potential ad partner, which I've worked in this business long enough. You get ad requests from everyone. You get review requests, ad requests, integration requests, collaboration requests. Hey, can we send you some crappy product? This is what that was. So it was a potential advertiser reaching out and saying, hey, what are your rates? And, you know, when can we expect a video and those kinds of things? And so a salesperson said, yeah, here's our normal rate card. Here's our integration options. What kind of video are you looking for? And so it wasn't just a cold call, and it wasn't just, hey, we're an advertiser. Please open this pdf.exe. This was a continuous back and forth multiple times with a company that wanted to do advertising, or allegedly wanted to do advertising, that ended up being a malicious player. That is called spear phishing. That is the difference between falling for a Nigerian print scam and someone sending your organization a letter or, you know, email supposedly from the CEO to the head of human resources saying, hey, I know it's Friday, it's 3 p.m. I'm sorry, I'm out of the office. I'm on my way to this conference, which they probably looked up by seeing the CEO's social media posts and seeing, hey, they're boarding a plane and things like that. Hey, I know this is last second, but we have some like regulatory compliance that we have to do, and I need you. I know it's late, and I'm so sorry to ask this. I need you to get me a list of all of our employees, their social security numbers, home addresses, and whatnot, just so we can, you know, cross our T's, dot our I's. Hey, I got to go get on my plane now. I'll see you on Monday if you want to talk more. That's a spearfish, and it's designed specifically so the employee receiving it thinks it's you, thinks, well, they said that they were rushing to get on a plane. I know they were getting on a plane sometime today. That makes sense. And if they just need this thing, yeah, cool, I can wrap that up. But I'm out of here at 4:30, so I'll just knock this out real quick, send it to them, and boppity-boo. And that also gives the attacker 72 hours before anyone realizes anything is wrong. In this case, this was another type of spear phishing where they probably sought out Linus Tech Tips because of the size of their company, the size of their channel, and got a correspondence going with the salespeople. There were no grammatical errors. This wasn't a, you know, please run ads, me love you long time. You know, this wasn't broken English or anything else. But even if it was broken English, that's not outside the realm of companies that advertise with channels like me. That's not immediately the red flag you think it is. But if you build up a correspondence with someone, you have a little bit of a rapport with someone now, you're more likely to open a PDF. And if you open a PDF and you have an Adobe exploitable thing on there, and your salesperson happens to also be logged in, have other duties within the Linus Tech Tips, Linus Media Group ecosystem, your account can get breached. This was a session token takeover. What that means is when you log into Google or any other service, really, where you have to enter account credentials, there's a handshake that takes place, and then your browser is issued what's called a session token. Now, a lot of these tokens are scheduled to expire. If you've ever gone onto a banking website and then let the page sit idle for 15 minutes, and then tried to click a link on there, and then it goes, sorry, you have to log back in, that's because your session token expired. It no longer trusts your browser. Google session tokens can last months or even years, and that's out of convenience to the end user, because who wants to log into their email every 10 minutes?
Exactly.
Not only log in, but re-authenticate with 2FA and whatever other factors that you have in place. It would be so annoying, no one would use the service anymore, and they'd go to a less secure service. So there is a balance between convenience and security. Where you strike that balance exactly is kind of up to a lot of different opinions. But the browser session token was hijacked and spoofed, and for whatever reason, Google didn't flag it as all of a sudden changing IPs, but that's not the silver bullet you think it is, because if you're a group like Linus, you might have a /2040 your name, and you're one of 24 IP addresses that's coming out of that, or one of 256 IP addresses that's coming out of that particular facility. How do you know that the session token didn't just jump to another one, or that someone's not just roaming a cell phone tower and driving around Vancouver with a cell phone making these changes? So there has to be an inherent amount of trust from Google as well as your device to make all this work. Session token was hijacked. Linus Tech Tips was hijacked. And three of their channels were hijacked. Their three largest ones. There's a lot of people who are giving a lot of grief. Let me tell you, from a social engineering standpoint, there's a reason social engineering is often the things that bring organizations down and is often the weakest link. It's because it's the one that works. It's the one that can work with any organization. And no amount of training. There's probably a couple things that Linus Tech Tips could have done better, as far as opening strange attachments in a sandbox. But I can't say that I always do that either. But I look at every email with a glance of this could potentially be a phish, because I used to first-party phish my own organizations to make sure that we were in compliance with laws and staying above board with employee training. And if you failed a phish test, it wasn't you're fired. It was a, hey, you made a mistake. We're going to sit down for 10 minutes. I'm going to kind of walk you through things to look for, policies to follow, and whatnot. Now, if you fail it like 6 times, yeah, I'm sorry, there's going to be some discipline at some point, but
yeah, you're going to get a write-up or something.
But that used to be,
like
that used to be one of my jobs, is data security, is infosec kind of stuff. And you can train as much as you want, but you can't get past the social engineering aspect, especially a targeted, directed, hey, we want to do advertisements with Linus Tech Tips. What are your rates? What do you offer? What services? Hey, that sounds great. Can we schedule something here down the road? By the way, let me send you a deliverables agreement, which again is very standard practice. Almost every ad that I run on Craft Computing has a deliverables and contract written up between me and the organization that I'm working with, to make sure that everyone gets what's theirs. I get paid, they get their ad delivered, I do all the things that I need to do from the social media aspect of it, and everyone's happy. So, they shouldn't have opened an attachment. You don't know what you're talking about. So There are a lot of things that YouTube can do better too, and Google to the larger extent of the way they handle not only internal account protections and administration as far as permission sets go, because YouTube's permission sets are very black and white. It's very like you either have access to the channel or you kind of don't. There's not a lot of granular permissions that you can dole out. But there should be some red flags of, are you sure you want to unlist all of your videos? Are you sure you want to rename your channel that's been around for 12 years? Are you sure that you want to do this because this is well outside your normal activity? Like bulk changes are not normal. Maybe just re2FA if enough changes happen.
Two or three, even just like a two-step authentication for large changes. You know, like, okay, one is fine. I don't need that. Oh, you're deleting 10 videos at one time? I need you to authenticate this again, please.
Yep.
You know, or you know, on this device or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Something along that lines. And again, that's not perfect, but that's a step forward. That's a better option. Yeah, I agree. And again, too, it's getting harder and harder because, like you said, it's not one of those broken English. In a sense, AI, and not saying this is AI, but stuff like that is easily generated to have a conversation back and forth and to have a legitimate conversation, which is in stored memory. I mean, just talking Chat GPT. Again, I'm saying this was AI or anything. I'm just saying that it can remember your conversation. So it's very easy for either a live person or some script to remember something, especially if it's going against this large of a channel or doing these large of companies going after these. They're probably going to put a little bit of money behind this type of attack.
Yeah.
You know, a bit more effort than just the standard, you need email, you know, you forgot package, you hear invoice, you know, .exe or whatever. And then you see in the email that it's actually from somewhere else.
Right.
It wasn't one of those, like you said,
this
it was talking back and forth.
There are a lot of these scams that will pop up that they will set up a domain and they'll sit on that domain for 9 months. And they'll put up a website and say, hey, we're a new startup tech company. I get correspondence from new tech companies once a week. And hey, we're trying to create this new device and whatnot. And you fill your website with a bunch of, you know, paradigm changing, back us on Kickstarter BS. And you make it look like a legit site, because you'd be amazed at how many retail products have pretty crap websites when it's like single company, single product type stuff, where, you know, you get the classic scroll all the way down the page and there's one hyperbole rife paragraph or sentence in it, you know, change the way you use computers forever, and then you scroll again and it's something. It's not hard to build a website like that and then just let it sit there for 9 months. And so even if you're a company that your salespeople are doing their due diligence and they're saying, okay, well, we won't work for someone who's only had a website for a week. So the sales guy goes and checks, you know, ICANN or whatever. And it's like, oh, site was registered 9 months ago. That checks out with what they told me on the email. Oh, look, they've actually got a product page here. Hey, look, they have an actual email domain and it's coming from that domain. And the domain is not marked as spam by Google automatically and da-da-da. They will set up hundreds of fake companies and fake websites like this, just to be able to forward in the hopes of scamming people out of whatever. This is why it's a targeted attack and not a generic attack.
Okay, yeah, everyone's saying my mic is low.
I just gave you a lot more gain.
I can't even hear Jeff now.
Yeah, like I've got you +8 over on this side.
Yeah, that's when I listen to it on YouTube, it's extremely loud, and now I'm frozen. Oh, there it goes.
You're looking fine to me.
Yeah, no, I was. There we go.
Yeah.
I'll scoot closer to the mic.
Okay.
I'll move the mic.
Yeah, because usually I have the guest at a +4, and that does pretty well. I've had to adjust you a couple times, but not often.
I can scoot closer to the mic. That's fine. I don't mind.
There you go.
All right, whatever.
So, yeah, there's a lot of disinformation. There were a lot of assumptions and opinions that were out there from some very uneducated people about how hacks like this work, and even Linus's video, it needs to be very direct and very to the point. So he's not going to get into a lot of the nuance about what the hack was and whatnot. I think he still did a fantastic job explaining it. But if you don't work in IT, or specifically with training users on email security, and you've never dealt with an organization that's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, you've never dealt with targeted attacks with actual spear phishing, you don't know what this was. So I can stand here and tell him blue in the face, but I'd rather tell you about today's sponsor. Oh, come on, it's doing it again. What the heck? Dang it.
No, yours is cut too. Yours is like bleeding over.
There we go. Hey, all right. Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Linode. Let me fix that. There we go. Good lord. It's been one of those days. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all your own problems. And even the most skilled network engineers will tell you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes software from most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. They offer shared CPU plans for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as you need to go, with virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, NVMe block storage, and more. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode is also expanding at light speed, with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of this year. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing, and a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
How is your sazerac?
If I drink it down the right pipe, it's delicious. Oh! Burns a little bit if you don't. Justin sends over $10. Thank you so much. Just wanted to send a shout out from Tennessee. Been watching the vids for a long time. Finally glad to catch a live stream. Welcome. You should show up more often. It's always a good time here. So yeah, even in the chat I was reading, there's a lot of disinformation. There's a lot of scammers taking advantage of your greed, of what, conducting your business. You realize Linus is a YouTube channel that has ads on his channel, right? It's not greed. It's being able to employ 100 different people in multifaceted business ventures like Linus Media Group. It's not greed, it's just economics. I run ads on my channel. I have an ad pretty much on every single video. Is that evil? Should I not be compensated for my work? Because as much as Patreon contributed to me being able to go full time, this, even running a YouTube channel like mine, it's like 10 to 12 grand a month. Like,
well, yeah, especially when you start up, and then even large companies too. Though the problem is when you get, no matter what, people don't. I think a lot of people don't seem to understand like scaling too. You can't like, and I'm not. This is not a dig on your channel or any channels similar to your size, but he couldn't do a video that you're doing with the budget that you're doing and be like, people would be like, what? That's not enough.
Right.
You need more.
Right.
And with your budget, you're like, basically you're trying to say, hey, what's the best bang for your buck per video? He has to do a similar thing, but in the sense also of profit return as well. Sometimes some videos hit, some don't. Like you said, he has a company, probably over 100 people multiple channels. I think 13 million plus subscribers. One of the largest tech. I think the largest tech on
15
YouTube.
just to LTT, and then he's got multiple other well over 1 and 2 million.
Exactly. So I'm shorting it.
But everyone goes, you know, I hate that he does ads in every video. Number one, he starts with a 15-second read. Sometimes it's even a 10-second read. It's this product does such and such. Learn more down in the link below. If you can't stomach 5 to 10 seconds of James or Linus or Anthony reading an ad, then you need to stop watching LTT because you're not supporting them. And you people obviously never grew up with television because we watched 8 minutes for every 22 minutes of TV. 8 minutes of advertisement for every 22 minutes of TV.
I understand. People are always like, I can understand if there was like every 4 minutes he was doing a read. He doesn't do that though.
He does a 15-second after the intro, which is basically what I do. I do a 30 to 60-second after my intro. That's called a pre-roll ad. It's before the bulk of the video. He usually does one hit to lttstore.com. Why does he do that? Because lttstore.com makes up 1/3 of Linus Media Group's overall revenue. It's where they make a lot of their money. So he's going to give it 5 seconds per episode because that's how he makes his money. He sometimes has a post-roll read, but that's after the content of the video has ended. So you're telling me you can't suffice 20 seconds over a 10-minute period.
The other
you need to look in the mirror.
He timestamps it. So you can just skip those. He timestamps it in most of his videos, and he's just like, oh, I can just skip it. It's fine. He sits there and says, hey, ad here. This is where it ends. So it's a big deal. How many people fast forward through tutorial videos like, just get to the point, I want to see? How many times where it's like, hey, we're building this thing to see if it can do X, and how many people just scroll to the end? I want to see it do X. Can it? You know, they don't want to see the build process. Yeah, it's annoying. Again, it's a business. No matter what, they're an educational entertainment business, and the way to make that to part of a revenue, 1/3 of a revenue, is advertisement. That is it. You're into it. If I was larger, I would be doing pre-rolls or some form of ads. I've had spots, even as small as my channel, I've had people offer me stuff for, hey, can you review this beer? And so I'll be like, whether I like that beer or not, I'll still give an honest review, but then it's like, okay, here's content for me. In the same sense, it's very similar. I'm not paid for it, but you know, that's what essentially a YouTuber, social media person is striving for. Instagram is literally just advertisement to get sponsors to sell something to them. YouTube is
even
just
the old
TV version of that.
Even the old tech magazines, like if you want to go back to like PC Gamer or Maximum PC or anything like that, they would review the product where the product was provided by the manufacturer to the company for the review. They were giving the company the product to review. And the magazine may have 2 ads for that same product in the magazine. Money's changing hands from company A to company B. However, nothing will ruin you faster than burning your integrity for a payday. If I started taking money and not disclosing that I'm taking money for a review, and I said, this is a fantastic product and I use this every single day, you'll notice, even though I've done some ads where a lot of people say, hey, I start my day every day with, you know, HelloFresh or Athletic Greens or whatever else. I mean, I've got an Athletic Greens ream that I'm doing right now. It's not part of my daily regiment. I don't drink it. But I don't think there's any harm in the product. And I'll put my name behind it because it's not a terrible product. It tastes fairly good. And if you're into a protein shake or, you know, meal replacement at the beginning of your day, fantastic. I've done that for a period in my life as well. But I'm not going to stand there and say, I start every day with Athletic Greens and blah, 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 blah. Because I don't. Words have meaning. Yeah. Established Titles. Established Titles did reach out to us. They offered us a lot of money, which is an immediate red flag. So we said no.
All right.
Yeah.
else we got? What else we got to talk? I mean, I mean, like you said, there was, or like I said, or mentioned, there was still some funny parts in the video, though.
Yeah,
that he
I
did,
hate to pile on to my mods, but we're gonna get political here in a second. Skull, Rev, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I see you working your magic right now. But
I didn't see anything.
I've
been.
Oh yeah, there was all of a sudden like 6 or 7 accounts that were nuked. So.
Oh, okay. All I saw was I was just paying attention to the leveling stuff.
Yeah,
like,
no, it got a little unfriendly, and there's been a couple of reminders already. Skull walks away slowly. Yeah, get out while you still can. I don't think
we're a tech channel, guys.
Right. This one we're going to attack from purely a tech perspective, and avoid the partisan politics that often go along with these types of talks. Okay.
Yeah.
So Vice and Newsweek have both done stories now on revisions to the TikTok ban that is currently being presented to Congress. For those not aware, there's currently some legislative hearings going on in which Congress has been questioning the CEO of TikTok and technical workers for TikTok about what exactly their service is, how do they make money, who do they report to, is it funded by CCP, is it this, is it that, are you collecting information for nefarious purposes or just advertising, or what about kids 18 and under, like what are all your policies around this? And the end result is there's a good chunk of politicians who want to ban TikTok, partially because it's a Chinese company and partially because they think it'll get them votes with people who have kids. So that's the long and short of that. And I just got a full page ad that won't go away. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Mine, I got the same.
Yeah. Nothing makes me want to click off your site more than intrusive advertising. Okay.
Welcome to Vice. They're going bankrupt anyways.
Yeah. But that's been the gist of the hearing so far. Well, the Restrict Act, as it's being called now, is being focused at TikTok directly, but the insanely broad language could lead to other apps or communication services with connections to foreign countries being banned in the US. One of the biggest of these are VPNs. The Restrict, and this is a direct quote, the Restrict Act is a concerning distraction with insanely broad language that raises serious human and civil rights concerns. Willamary Escato, U.S. policy analyst for digital rights organization Access Now, told Motherboard in a emailed statement. And it's particularly concerning because the U.S. is saying that they can prevent you from communicating with any tech service that is not U.S. hosted. That's as strong as the words are, and unfortunately they are insanely broad in that definition. They suddenly have a problem with NordVPN. Guess what? And I guarantee all it would take is the realization by politicians or lobbying that a lot of people use Nord or Surfshark or some other VPNs for getting around password blocks for Netflix or media streaming or seeing out of country content. I'll use it to watch BBC because they have better coverage of the Olympics than NBC does. Not every athlete has a sob story. Sometimes it's just I want to see human crush javelin or whatever. I don't need 30 minutes and then them skipping 90% of the athletes. So I'll watch their coverage instead. Guess what? I need a VPN to do that. So it's also particularly concerning because as people, you do have a inherent right to privacy. How far that extends? That's a good question. But with Congress discussing the banning of all VPNs, and that's been in talks before, literally banning encryption. because, well, we can't read every text message, and that's not fair. You have a right to be able to send communications unmonitored without cause. So, yeah, Patriot Act 2.0. Basically,
that's what a lot of people have been saying. Yeah.
It's extremely concerning no matter what side of the aisle you're on, because it's. I'm gonna get a little political here, but it's really a potential law that would restrict liberty for a lot of people. If you're, we like to think we're land of the free, home of the brave, and we can criticize our government to no end and whatever else. But what if you're criticizing the government and all of a sudden they say you can't do that? And before you were, say you're an organization, NAACP or Black Lives Matter or anything like that, and you don't want the government listening into your communication, so you hide it. That's a valid use of encryption. You don't have to communicate over open wires. And as long as you're not planning terrorist attacks, there's really nothing wrong with hiding your communication. So this is a ruling that there are some congressmen trying to sneak some very vague language into. And for those who think I'm being a little overdramatic, the bill's language includes vague terms such as desktop applications, mobile applications, gaming applications, payment applications, and web-based applications. It also targets applicable software that has more than 1 million users in the US. Saying that the US could ban any online service that facilitates American speech. Scary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, people in the chat are saying Patriot Act 2.0, and even that too. That particular act I don't agree with a lot. Actually, 99.999% of that I don't agree with. Yeah, the issue too, but the terms of services, and we talked about this on a previous episode of this show about TikTok and other social media sites, is people go on and the terms of service, Apple does this, TikTok does this, Facebook does this. You're giving them your data, and that's essentially what they're fighting against. Is this bill is supposedly supposed to fight against? Is, hey, it's giving your facial recognition, your GPS location, the access to your contacts, your photos, blah blah blah. The only part I would say, like,
well, are they going to ban Facebook then? Are they going to ban Apple from advertising?
Exactly. That's kind of my point. Is it's more, I would prefer a bill of like terms of service be easier and more straightforward to understand and to know what people are giving away. No one knows what they're giving away. I constantly, and this has nothing to do with social media, but anything that's free, we've talked about this before, anything that's free, you are the product.
Right.
And you're giving away all of whatever you're allowing that program to access. You're uploading a photo, you're uploading a video, you're uploading hey, I'm at this restaurant. You're basically saying, hey, track my phone probably for the next 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. The main problem I see with this is it being unilaterally applied to whatever the flavor of the month is, and not the Facebooks and the Googles and Alphabets and Apples of the world, who quite literally are collecting every piece of relevant data that they ever could on you. They know more about you than you do. And it's frightening. One of my favorite examples is in my photo library. So if I open my phone and I go to photos and then I go to search, there's a feature that will identify faces. And it's one thing for it to go, oh, that's you. That's Jeff. I can find all photos of Jeff for you if you want. Okay, cool. It's another when it's, hey, I have pictures of your kids. Here's Miss, here's Bit, and it uses their names. And it's like, I don't know that I ever typed those in, but that's...
Yeah.
Mine has my cat. Mine has Rambo by his name. Do you think
'Cause
I
you
have
probably
a
put it
contact
on-
in my phone called Rambo with his photo?
No.
Do you think
But you probably put it on Twitter, and then they probably have a contract
Right,
with Google
right.
or some other service,
mean,
and
yeah.
that's how it is.
I have never typed that in to the Photos app, to Google, to anything else. I've simply said his name. Okay?
Yeah.
Other than typing cat picture into Twitter and saying, you know, Rambo was very curious today or whatever else. But seriously, if I go to search, Rambo's at the top. I'm trying not to reveal too much, but Rambo's literally the second one there. He was that one right there, and it has his name.
Yeah, no, I mean that's that in general is a problem. In all honesty, all this bill is saying, oh, American companies can have that information.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially, that really is the whole juicy bits of it. That's the problem with it. They're saying TikTok is owned by China, or whatever app is owned outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's a security risk.
Yeah.
But Facebook, Twitter, they're American.
Mm-hmm.
They can have as much as they want.
Yeah.
You know, Google, all that. They can sell it to all these other people. It's totally fine for them to sell it.
Yeah.
Because we can sue them as a national security breach.
But like I said, it's the arbitrary and vague language of this that
just
should
like
be raising
every
a lot
terms
of
and
red
services.
flags.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean, sorry, but name another bill on either side that it doesn't do that.
I get that, but
yeah,
we're a tech channel. I can focus on this tech issue.
Yeah. No, or any legal argument, but yeah.
Shout out to Crosstalk and Techno Tim, both in the chat right now. Thanks for the $5,
yo,
Mr. Tim. And Crosstalk drinking a Deschutes Modern Revival West Coast IPA tonight. Excellent brew. That is a fantastic choice.
I would highly recommend, if you can find it, the Rogue Dead Guy IPA. If you want to experience what a classic
Crosstalk is literally just down the road from us, so.
Then go pick that up.
He's a fellow Oregon YouTuber. So
yeah, go pick that up. If you can find it, you can find it at local Safeway, Fred Meyer, anywhere. The review on the Rogue IPA variety pack will be coming out. Well, it was supposed to be today, but I got busy. Probably tomorrow or Friday. That one they sent me, but I bought it myself.
Yeah.
But I think that particular beer is a probably quintessential early 2000s Northwest, like 2010 or 2009 IPA.
I loved what they did with that guy IPA. I really do.
It was like I'm not like blown away like a certain like juice bombs, but I was like, I am so thankful this isn't a juice bomb.
Mm-hmm.
This reminds me of what just a good pub IPA used to taste like, with a greasy burger and fries, and
that's exactly what I said when I had it. It's like, I need like a double bacon cheeseburger to go alongside this.
Exactly.
It's a quintessential when you're drinking like a Sierra Nevada Pale and you go, I want it to go harder, but I don't want it to lose any of this character. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And yes, Crosstalk, their garage sales are off the hook.
Oh yeah, garage sales are off the hook. They're so cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, no, their brewery is amazing. Their beer is awesome. So great stuff.
You can go to their garage sales, get a keg for $30.
Yeah. This one was a little unfortunate. I wasn't happy to hear this one. The Internet Archive has lost its first fight to scan and lend ebooks as a library. And this could actually have implications for physical libraries who are doing the same thing as well. To catch you up on this story, the Internet Archive, archive.org, was trying to act as a library. That is, they would receive physical copies of material, books, papers, whatever. They would scan them, and they would lend them out on an individual basis. That is, they have one physical copy that they keep, and they lend you the backup. They don't lend 100, they lend one until that one is returned or the license expires, and then they can lend it to the next person. This is also how libraries do ebooks and e-distribution. My wife uses this like crazy with our local libraries, where she will request books that are out of print that hey, I'm interested in this one, or it's like book 4 in the series and I can't find it anywhere else. Yeah, I'll just borrow it from the library. And she'll get a digital copy of it, and she'll read it on her Kindle or whatever else. And then at the end of 7 days, the license goes away, it's deleted from her device, and we move on with our lives. And the next person can read the book. It's no different than physically lending out a copy of the book, except you're not physically lending out the copy of the book. You're still allowing just one person to use it at a time. And wouldn't you know it, it was the 4 largest book publishers in the US, as well as a number of authors who brought the lawsuit. Federal judge ruled against the Internet Archive, saying they are not allowed to lend out backup copies.
I don't get that. That's ridiculous. I don't understand that, because literally there is no difference between this and a library. I mean, the way they were doing a license was no different. I mean, a library can even have multiple copies. So the fact that they were just doing one at a time, and they're putting in the effort to digitally scan this type of stuff, or the other person did, but there's a physical copy. They essentially, just like you've talked about games, you own the physical license, you own the proprietary item. They were given the proprietary item. The VHS, if anyone's old enough to remember, I'm sure enough of us are, the VHS controversy of recording it and distributing it. No, that's illegal. Sure, you own the video and you lend it to a friend, that's fine. This is no different. I'm digitally lending it to a friend. No different than digitally owning a Blu-ray, copying it to my server, and then, I purchased the item. So this
book publishers are saying that it is costing them millions of dollars a year, with the same argument that every download of Limp Bizkit or whatever else on Napster represented a loss in revenue, which is so not the case.
How many of these are like sponsored by are these authors or publishers are sponsored by Amazon?
Aaron in the chat says the problem is the scale. I disagree wholeheartedly, because libraries have always been about the distribution of information. And yes, it's not your local library that's ran by your county, but you can still be a library. There are libraries that do, multi-state shipping of rare items and things like that. There are libraries that you can go to at any point from anywhere. Like if a library in Texas had something that I wanted to see that only that library had, I could fly to Texas and go take a look at it. Like, that's the whole point of a library. And there are federal protections for libraries. In fact, there are federal initiatives supporting libraries. So why all of a sudden that Internet Archive gets a larger reach than your local county library might have? Never mind that every freaking county in this country has its own library already, so it's not like it's a larger reach than the established quota already. Is it now a problem? You're still one copy, one sale, one distribution. It's just, they're allowing anyone to check out their books instead of just people who live within the resident area.
Honestly, the thing is, though, what I'm actually liking about more of it is the ingenuity of the licensing and allowing out of one per user, essentially, of it being a digital library. I mean, the whole idea of this is essentially a library could do this. There's literally no difference than a state-run library scanning in all of their books and doing this. And
which
so what
libraries are doing right now.
Right, I know. So this is ridiculous. I don't. This one I didn't understand. Why did the judge
I fully
say
understand this? It's just I disagree with it.
I guess that's more what I meant. This is it's a stupid decision.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
will go on
they're
record for
arguing.
that one.
Oh, and Google Books also does this. Google famously created scanners with Raspberry Pis and digital SLRs that would automatically scan books. However, the judge ruled that the work was transformative to the copyrighted work because it created a searchable database of criticism and commentary inside the books, as well as searchable terms from
Words,
inside the books.
Yeah, exactly.
And because the Internet Archive doesn't have the literal digital transcript, it's just an EPUB or literal photos of the book, that it's not transformative, therefore it doesn't fall under the same electronic protection, which is absolute bull.
Which is actually better because then you can't mess with the verbiage.
Yeah. Google Books is not a transformative work, and neither is archive.org, but they deserve the same protection under the law. Crosstalk, thank you so much. $10, just one-upping Techno 10. We can all strive to one-up Techno 10.
Right, I know. There we go. Big Spoon did come in, chime with the $1.99 TikTok ban equals Patriot Act 2.0. Yes, sir. We all agree with that.
Yep.
Essentially, yes, we agree with you. And Techno Tim, was that $5? I think we did hit that.
Yes.
But thank you, Crosstalk, for doubling. So Techno Tim, if you just want to show up,
balls in your court, Tim. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's cool, man. It's cool. Cheers to that. Jeff, sir, I am done with my beer. It is 13 past 7. How are you with your cocktail?
By
are
all
you
means,
having more than one?
But I will be having more than one. I'm probably just going to finish with an old fashioned because what better way to check out of the month?
What better way? Exactly. What better way?
Yeah, no, please, by all means.
Just give me a second.
Give him a second, he says. I thought he had one ready to go.
It's in the mini fridge. I'm so sorry. Everyone says it's low, so it was in the mini fridge. So, for today, I am having the famous Lagunitas Waldo's series triple IPA by Lagunitas, 11.7%.
Sorry, I think I said Sierra Nevada earlier. I knew it's Lagunitas.
Yeah,
you knew what I meant.
Well, I think you were thinking.
No, I was thinking Waldo's.
Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
They come out within like a month apart.
Yeah.
So yes, triple IPA. If you've never checked this out, this is one of the amazing beers to collect.
Mm-hmm.
You can age these. I don't recommend probably more than a year, but I am crazy enough to have over 15 years of this, and still haven't drank any of them. But if you were looking for that special 4-something style 2.0 beer, 2.0 beer, this is an homage to that.
Yep. Yeah, the big selling feature of Waldo's is they're usually $2 or $2.50 and double-digit ABVs.
Yes, sir.
That actually is pretty good.
They are. I will state, I do enjoy. For some reason, I think this year is better than last year, and I enjoyed last year's. So I think this year is a hair more balanced and better.
So Elma says, sorry, Technotem spent all of his money on RGB, which is a pretty good investment to make, I would say. I finally did add some lighting to my 45 Drive server this last week. It's not RGB, it's just some white lights, but I really like the look of them. And then Justin the Geek chimes in with $20. Haha, I'll up it just for kicks. And Crosstalk says, damn it! Waldo's is honestly the best IPA I've ever had. Fight me. Oh, I can fight you with some way better IPAs.
Look,
I'm not saying Waldo's is bad. I'm saying it's not.
No.
I'm saying it's an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, there are just parameters we have to talk about. Are we talking price? Are we talking ABV? It's all of this stuff we have to talk about because they're just different categories. Is it up there? Yes, it's up there. It's very high ranked. Is it the greatest? Can I spend $40? I can go find something better for $40.
I would even say down in the $3 to $4 price range. There's some incredible IPAs that absolutely trounce Waldo's. All credit to Waldo's. It's a fantastic beer. It's a great series. It's a little different every year, and they have a history of being very good. But if you give me something like an Nkasi Megalodon, which is $3.50 or $4 a
10.
pint.
Yeah.
That's a 10% IPA. That is chef's kiss perfection.
It is. It's really, and available almost year round. Where this is only a month and a half.
Megalodon
I think it's like,
is quasi.
I think it's 6. I think it's 6 months or 3.
They release it once every 4 or so months or something like that. Like they'll run a batch like and then it'll hit. So it drops like 3 or 4 or 5 times a year. So it's not always on store shelves, but it's not rare either.
Well, but the thing is though, it's high enough to sit on a shelf.
Yeah.
And thus makes it seem like it is year round.
That's true.
Where this is only in shelf for about 8 weeks.
Right.
And that's it. They only produce it one time a year, thus, and only being around for 8 weeks. So yeah, you have to then go with that, and that's a point.
Yep.
I've always wanted to do a video like what is the best IPA or beer money per buck, but then it's so hard to really nail that down because what we get locally. There's some good, like you said, the Megalodon. That's Oregon, North Washington, Southern Washington, Northern California only.
Yeah.
I don't know what the East Coast has as a 10% IPA.
Megalodon as a trade beer has gotten me so many amazing beers from around the country.
It's $3.50 for a 19.2 ounce on our for 10% on our side. Amazing Northwest IPA, double IPA, Imperial IPA. I don't know
another one that I'd put up there.
The East Coast has
another one that I'd put up there for like $2.60 to $3. Cryo Stash, Hop Valley.
Cryo Stash Hop Valley. I have one in my mini fridge.
It's like 9.2 or 8.6 or right in there.
It's something like that. I can't get around. It's like I can't fight not having one of those. Price per point, it's one of those things. Actually, you know what? I used to hate it, but the Big Baller, but they came out with a hazy. It's actually pretty darn decent. It's like $2.50. It's like 8.8.
I don't think I've had that one.
No, but I never liked the Big Baller original, but they came out with a hazy.
Yeah,
and that just sweetened the harshness up, and it's like this is actually pretty darn good for $2.58. So
see, Crosstalk has some local connections. Oakshire Watershed.
Oakshire is great. I do like Oakshire. Hellshire is one of my personal favorite stouts every year. I used to go to that festival all the time. I have a collection of Hellshires in my back.
Also, Abdul has raised the mark to 25. Do I hear 30? Going 30.
Going 30, people.
Thank you, Abdul, very much for the 25. Much appreciated.
Just on the geek, haha, $20 as well.
Yeah, I read that one just a minute ago.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry.
Got it. That's why we upped to 25.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, yeah. So Ben says Dogfish Head is on the East Coast. Dogfish we are now seeing a bit more. I do see 90-minute.
Yep.
In the larger can here, so that is I do. My local grocery store carries a large variety of 19-ounce cans, and I keep them in my mini fridge for my lunches recently this past year. Dogfish 90-minute has been one of mine. Again, if you want to check out the beers I've been having, that has been a couple of times. Ben says Block 15, a great IPA, of course. And guess what? Block 15
you got
Sticky Hands, fantastic. But only distributed in Oregon, unfortunately, and they do not have a 19-ounce. So do you ding it for that? But Block 15 celebrating 15 years this month.
Sweet. Crosstalk, Deep Cut McMiniman's Cold. Cold as Rice. Cold double IPA is amazing. I don't know if
cold
I've had
IPAs
that one. I haven't been to McMiniman's in a while.
No, I just had a cold IPA, and then the cold IPA was actually invented in Oregon. The whole style. So just letting everyone know that if they want to know, the original cold IPA was an Oregon IPA. If you want to know what that actually is, check out. I do a deep dive in the definition of what a cold IPA actually is. So, yeah, 90. I have a couple of Dogfish Heads 120. Now those are only, and Jeff has a couple of, I believe you have or had Utopias as well. Lucky.
I still do.
Curse word after the lucky. So, but no, you know what? I will say, I do have a beer I will not drink without Jeff, and it is a Anchorage. It is essentially a deal with the devil, but then they blended it with another barley wine that was aged in 22-year Pappy Van Winkle barrels. And I will not drink that beer without Jeff. I have a 20-year-old age one, but I will save the 22-year-old one for Jeff.
I did within the last couple of months open my 2020 deal with the devil. That was a good beer.
I have it's a great beer. I've had a few of them, but I have I think I'm up to like 7 now.
For those who don't know what Anchorage's deal with the devil is, it's literally a $100 12-ounce bottle.
Yeah. Oh, it's so worth it too. You have to share it. It's not a single consumer beer.
I had 11 ounces of it. I gave Red a snifter, and then I drank the rest on camera.
It's so good. It really is so good. So
that guy, before you get all crazy up in here, $50.
$50. And we got a new member too.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the geek. Thank you, sir.
Welcome in.
I hope that's a member of the Patreon as well, sir. Thank you, sir. See you on there. But hey, speaking of beers and interesting, cocktails and whatnot, Coors is doing something interesting. This isn't their first dip into the spirit world, but this is their first bourbon into the spirit world. Coors Whiskey Company. I've never heard of that, and there's a good reason for that.
This actually kind of has my attention. A lot of the we've seen Budweiser and Pabst and whatnot kind of dip their toe into the liquor side of things, all to very hokey,
cheaply made, quickly made,
terrible results.
They're more niche end.
I don't even want to say niche. I would say gimmicky.
The Pabst gimmicky would be that's a much better word.
And so you've had some entries like this before, like the Pabst, like any whiskey aged in oak is a whiskey.
So 5 seconds is technically aged,
right? and God, what an awful whiskey that was. And so it's like I've been so hesitant from all the major players to no, just stay in your lane, make the crappy pilsners, and go away. This actually has me a little bit intrigued because this is an actual 4-year aged, proper made bourbon.
Yes. Interesting. Yes. And decently priced. It's not overpriced or what they're assuming to be the price range.
Yeah.
It's not undervalued. So we're coming at
$40 at 92 proof.
Yeah, and that's another thing I really enjoyed was the proof. It's a much higher proof, so it's not quite that 100 proof that some people will snoot at, but it's definitely above the 80 proof. So what it is Coors has purchased or partnered. I believe they purchased 5 Trail Blend distillery, and so essentially they're making their whiskey. They made a whiskey with them before, but this is again like Jeff was saying, and I haven't looked it up, how old the whiskey they've made. This is a true bourbon. This is their first bourbon.
Right. The whiskeys that we've seen before, you can call anything a whiskey so long as it's touched oak. Otherwise, it's Everclear or vodka. If you want to use the term bourbon in the States, that means it is a mash bill of 51% or more corn. And it can be barley or rye or wheat or whatever else your ingredients are for the rest of it. But it's at least 51% corn. And it is aged in barrels at least 4 years. And it is aged in, to go even further, New American oak for at least 4 years. That is a bourbon. Those are the rules. Those are the labeling rules set by the ATF. They are very strict as far as what you can and cannot call a whiskey. Because we have rye whiskey, we have American whiskey, we have whiskey. There's also terms straight and etc. Those all mean different and very specific things under labeling laws. Bourbon in this case would mean a spirit that was distilled with 51% or higher corn mash that is aged at least 4 years in new American oak whiskey barrels. So this one actually has me a little excited because it's the first one that's actually gone through the steps of creating a labeled bourbon.
Yeah, exactly. It's proper. Unfortunately for Jeff, Rhett, and Steve, the closest we can get to this place, this particular one, is Colorado or Nevada.
I have friends in Colorado, and in fact, I'll be going to Nevada in August. So,
okay, so maybe take a look out. So it's going to be distributed in Colorado, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, New York, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and Wisconsin. Those are the areas that Coors Whiskey Company are able to distribute.
Am I getting rated right now? Because all of a sudden Tom's in here, and Tom, you're up a little late, my friend. But welcome in all the same. Where's Gearling at? Like, hell, I got to get Redshirt in here. I'm gonna get Linus Sebastian to join next.
Well, yeah, we started like talking smack about people, and so everyone else started joining in. So
yeah,
it's a good time. They heard Hops and Bruises on.
Tom says he is easily influenced. Well, I did mention whiskey, and I said it 3 times, so of course Tom had to join in.
Whiskey.
Oh,
there he is.
Beetlejuice.
Suge Knight. Wait, no, we don't do that.
Whoa, no, we don't talk about Suge Knight anymore.
No, we don't do that.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce the next story as I'm aging and I feel really bad about doing it. I'm going to step away and grab a little bit of ice so I can make my old-fashioned.
I can do that. All right, not a problem.
Hold on.
Okay.
One of these.
Yeah,
there it is.
There we go. All right. By the way, I have to say, this beer is it's fantastic. Again, I'm on a beer diet. I'm on a very low calorie diet, so I'm having a good time right now. I'm not gone, but I'm having a good time. I got a breathalyzer right here. Anyways, Adult Swim. I don't know how many of you our age. I know Jeff, myself, Rhett, Steve. We probably grew up on Adult Swim, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. We got so many other ones. Early Adult Swim was Family Guy, which really brought Family Guy back to life. So Adult Swim is going to be fighting, not fighting, but trying to combat some more of the other streaming services that are coming out by coming out a little bit earlier for everyone. And I am a fan of this, honestly, because this just gives more time for the shows I want to watch. Already, if you haven't known, even to today's standard, one of the most influential Adult Swim shows, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, again, fantastic show. I love it. I think that literally saved Aqua Teen Hunger Force or our Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Still counts for 4% of the watch, the shows watched. And that show hasn't produced anything, I think, for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, it
hasn't produced a new episode.
Been more than that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's like 18, something like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that there are a lot of Adult Swim shows that are still Futurama. Futurama basically owes its life to Adult Swim because
Family Guy as well. Because Family Guy, when it was canceled after its 3rd season, remember it was canceled and went away for like 6 years, and then was rebooted. But it stayed alive because of Adult Swim.
So
Robot
Adult
Chicken.
Swim and
yes,
Robot Chicken. Thank you,
man
sir.
of culture.
There it is. Justin Geek. You are correct, sir. Robot Chicken is an amazing show. Yes, again, so there are plenty of amazing content. And honestly, I think this is coming back from they're trying to combat, again, the Warner Brothers Discovery, the Paramount, almost Comedy Central South Park. So they're trying to get into that lower time tiered aspect. That's my personal opinion, because they're coming out with newer shows for the lower tiered time slots.
Yep.
And I think they're trying to combat and get that late 20s, early 30s, beyond demographic, which is a larger demographic for most of these shows. The young adult, I should say, the young adult streams, shows,
C
a
Lab
little bit
2021. How about a little Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
Venture Brothers. Venture Brothers, Space Ghost Coast to Coast was amazing.
Yep.
Love that. I remember being like 12 or 13, and I had a soundtrack or all of the songs that Space Ghost Coast to Coast parodied as a CD. Type of but I would listen to that on old road trips with my parents.
Nice.
And so, Adult Swim has been a part of my life and everything for quite a while.
Mine too. So for those who don't know, there's actually a subreddit called Falling Asleep to Futurama.
That's what I was thinking of. Yes, sir. Or not even that, but I think it's just Adult Swim. But yes,
no, there's one specifically for Futurama, and my wife and I, for probably 6 or 7 years, every single night, we would turn Futurama on until we fell asleep. Because that would, Adult Swim would be playing a 2-hour block of it, and that's what we fell asleep to.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Like Steve has his own Plex mix, and he calls it Adult Swim.
Oh yeah.
And then he's just like, I don't. If there's nothing to watch, he just turns that on, and it's random Adult Swim cartoons.
Metalocalypse. That's the one I was trying to think of. Someone chimes in. Harvey Birdman, Super Jail.
Harvey Birdman, great. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's even the sequel to Harvey Birdman too. Yeah. The Mike Tyson mystery tour. I forget what that one's called. That's a pretty decent one too.
Oh yeah, Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Yeah, something like that was that.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald was on that one. Yep. So
Any Love for Drawn
he was
Together?
A bird.
Of course, I've seen Drawn Together. That's a great one.
Yeah, So there's again, how many great. So giving an extra hour.
Yeah,
that's great. I'm going to enjoy this. And again, the article talks about they're doing this to launch newer shows, especially this newer one called Unicorn, Warrior Eternal. Doesn't look bad. Give it a shot. But again, a newer time slot. I like it. I like the fact that they're pushing this type of stuff. I also grew up on this and Toonami, if anyone remembers Toonami, which is a bunch of anime stuff.
Yeah.
But that so I like this. I like channels that are pushing this more of this type of stuff. So this is fun.
Yeah.
This will be fun.
All right, I'm finally gonna make my old fashioned, and while I was up, I noticed.
Are you
something.
doing a special old fashioned?
A little bit. I'm diving into some special reserves here. So I was planning on making this with a Sagamore Spirit rye. It's a rye that was made in Maryland. You can tell because they put their flag on freaking everything. Really great rye whiskey, 97 proof. And individually labeled bottle and everything else. This is a fantastic bottle of rye. Unfortunately, there's only about that much left. And so
I don't know if that's enough.
And so you're about to see the care and feeding of my infinity bottle. So when my whiskey gets down to where it's about 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces left, I will go ahead and pour the remnants in here. This is the giving a shot. There we go. I'm gonna give that a good swirl around in there. My globe with the Imperial ship in the middle of it. The Britain Royal Navy, whatever.
When you said Imperial ship, I was like,
yeah, no, it's not a Star Destroyer in the center, although that'd be freaking dope.
I was like, that's a cool decanter. Where'd you get that one?
Yeah, and now we're gonna go ahead and make my old fashioned. And we're going to do it out of my infinity bottle. If my infinity bottle has told me anything, it's that I am a freaking sucker for rye. And I already knew that. But man, does this ever just cement that home, because this bottle is spicy. This bottle will tell you the exact kind of whiskey that you like and the exact type of whiskey that you should go buy.
So I must ask, Do you remember some of the bourbons, whiskeys that are in that infinity bottle?
There's a
that you
lot
could tell
in
us?
here. I know there is a fair amount of 18-year Jameson in here. I had about 3 ounces left of that, and I thought it was a little less than that. And I started pouring, and it's like, oh my god, that's a deep pour. So there's a lot of Jameson 18 in there. There's a lot of different ryes that I couldn't even name them. There's some Big Bottom rye out of McMinnville, Oregon. That's one of my favorite ryes. It's 113 proof. There's some bourbons. There's some Elijah Craig small batch in there. There's probably a little bit of Jameson Caskmates Stout Edition in there.
Yep, that's a good one.
So there's a decent amount of Irish, a lot of rye, and it's overall just a fantastic mix. So I do usually 3 to 3.5 ounce. This one's a little shorter. This is like 2 3/4 ounce, I think is what I did. So this is an orange bitters. This is Regan's Orange Bitters, number 6. It's a great one. I usually do 2 or 3 dashes of that, and then 2 or 3 dashes of Angostura.
Angostura, nice.
And then
nice.
swirl it up.
Yeah, I always recommend, if you don't have an actual orange peel, make sure to have orange bitters on hand. It still helps a lot.
Yes.
And you get that nice aromatic. It's usually a lower proof, I've noticed. Angosturas, I think it's 47, 46%.
Yeah, Angosturas usually about 50 proof. It's about 25, 26%, something like that.
I think it's high.
Or no, sorry, 88%.
Yeah,
or 88
so I thought
this is 44%
40.
alcohol.
Yeah, I thought it was 40, but usually I see orange is around the 40.
45.
Yep.
So, and there you go.
So, but
you can
it's
garnish
more
with
of
an orange peel if you want. Like I said, if I don't have an orange peel on hand, I'll do 2 or 3 dashes of orange bitters, and you still get just that little bit of a hit on the nose.
You want that citrus, and yeah, it's great. Hit it at the end. It's great. That's what you really want, because that really brightens the drink up.
I do not drink from that bottle very often because it's an infinity bottle. You're supposed to give it 2 ounces and then take 2 ounces, but it's supposed to be the last 2 ounces of your bottle. And so you only get a drink from this bottle when you finish a bottle that you want to put in there. And, oh my God, I can't even describe.
I bet that is complexity of rye, smoky, chocolatey, woody.
There's a little
everything
coffee, there's a little oak, there's a little cherry remnants in there.
There was, and I didn't post this article because I was like, hey, it's a pre-mixed cocktail, but I might send it to you just on the Discord or post it in the 10 forward era of a pre-made, and you did this before, pre-made coffee old fashioned.
Ooh.
In the bottle. So there's a distillery selling a pre-made, I believe it's 80 proof.
Yeah.
Coffee old fashioned in bottle. So,
the only other person or company that I've heard of doing that, what was the Aisha Tyler brand of whiskeys?
Yeah, there was that, but it was pre-made, right?
It was a pre-made cocktail, but it was 80 proof. And man, those were good. Those were so good. Yeah.
Here it comes. All right, I see it. Here we go. I'm gonna
Love and Dagger, Love and Theft. Love and Theft's a band.
I'm gonna post this in the Talking Heads Discord or group, but yeah.
Courage and Stone. There it is. That's the Aisha Tyler one.
All right, so this is not a 40 proof. This is a 40 proof, not a 80 proof. I thought it was 40 proof.
Yeah.
Or 40%. It is a 25.6%.
Okay, so 50 proof, but not terrible.
Not terrible, but again, it's probably what your cocktail is already going to be.
Yeah.
Well, no, not really. Not an old fashioned, actually. In all honesty, not an old fashioned.
Actually, yes, because if you consider that at like 2.5 to 3 ounces dilution from the ice, but also I'm adding 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup to this.
Good.
That's 20% of your overall mix, which means you're going to drop your ABV by 20% of whatever it is.
So it is a Michigan Traverse City Whiskey Company is making a custom whiskey of a coffee old fashioned.
For those who watched Mixology March 2 years ago, I didn't do Mixology March last year, but 2 years ago, I infused a whiskey with coffee. I cold brewed a coffee with nothing but whiskey. And man, that was so good. And
well, that's what made me think of this.
Yeah. I've been meaning to do it again, and I probably should.
I was like, I wonder if they stole this from Jeff.
Yeah. Also, I've been looking at doing some videos, maybe on Craft Extra, of some batch-made cocktails. And you know your little tap thing that you showed off a little while ago?
Yeah.
The 96 or 120 ounce keg and your CO2 injector and things like that. I've been looking at doing a batch-made cocktail and having old fashions in your fridge.
That honestly, I will be coming out, not a video, but a quick little YouTube short or whatever, mocking, because me and Square Cake kind of got into it. And their biggest claim was
they were not pleased.
They were not pleased. Let me say that. I'm sorry. I will
make
not
a better product.
I was honest. Their comeback was, "You don't support American-made products." I was like, I don't mind American-made products. Don't lie to me and say that this is the only option and it's better for you. It's like, no, here's all my listings of why your product is wrong. They're like, support American-made products. I'm like, you didn't address any of the issues I asked of you.
If the only hat you can hang is it's made in America, make a better product.
Well, and then the bad part is that the only part of the American made product is the container. All their other parts are Chinese made. It's like, you're not really American made.
You're assembling in America. Like,
yes, exactly.
The Toyota Tacoma is more American than you are.
And then they were like, well, your product doesn't fit in the fridge. And I was like, it only doesn't fit in the fridge because of the tap handle. And then
which you can hose off.
Well, and they do that, but then I went through their Instagram page, and a lot of theirs, they swapped the tap handle out for a lower profile one, which you can do on Amazon, which I found for $3. And so I just ordered one, and I'm gonna make a really quick video of it and be like, I'm gonna tag you all.
Good for you.
And be like,
good
look
for
how many I could do. It's like, look.
Yeah.
For $69 versus your $279 one.
Yeah.
I could fit, all these other things. And I'm sorry, I still have to state, you can't clean their product because it's square. If you put like a jammy sour in there, you don't know if you got it all out.
That's true.
The residue in there that's going to stay, you don't know if you scrubbed it all out. At least with the Chinese made, I'm sorry, but it probably is Chinese made round cake that I offered. You can see everything through the hole. Their square keg, which is actually a rectangle, you can't see the back end. Is there still dirt, yeast, whatever? You don't know. It's not easy to clean.
Yeah.
But again, I agree. I really want to put cocktails. I really enjoyed mine. I've been using mine. Actually, I see it right now. For my Rogue beer review, I didn't drink all of my beers. And so I had essentially 2.5 beers left. I had about 28 ounces left. I poured it in there, made a mixed beer, and was like, hey, this is good. I can drink this during my March diet.
Nice.
And not be fine. And it's perfectly preserved. And I really do want to make an old-fashioned cocktail. And what I do love is that it's 64 ounces, which is better because I can take it to a tap room too.
Yeah.
Or a cocktail. Who wants a gallon of a cocktail? I understand. Yes, there are people out there. Yes. Great. At the same time, that's a lot.
I make mojitos by the gallon. Okay.
Sure. But for my video, $10 more, you can make a gallon. That's the thing. It's the same equipment.
Yeah, I was looking at spending between 80 and 90 and getting a similar keg system, but in the 128 ounce instead of the 64.
Exactly. So it's not that it's difficult to do. So
yeah, if you haven't watched John's video on the square keg and why this company is basically just stealing money from you if you buy from them, they made a keg that fits in your fridge because it's a square, and it preserves your beer because it's powered by CO2, and so it displaces all the oxygen in there with the CO2, food grade CO2 cartridges that you buy in the 28 gram style. And then that also pressurizes the vessel so you can use it like a tap handle and you can pour your beer out. The problem is they said this is the only way you can do this. And it's like, no, these systems have existed forever. And,
yeah, exactly.
And they didn't cost $180 or $230 or $250.
$270.
$270, right. Little half-gallon kegs, the 64-ounce kegs, like metal round kegs with removable tops and everything, like $25.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a 128 ounce, it's like $35 or $40. Like,
yeah.
And you put tap handles on them, and you put the little CO2 pressurizer on them. You can also remote that if you want house CO2 or you want to do multiples of them or whatever else. That's how kegerators are freaking made. Like, this is not rocket science.
Oh, I know. I went in and saw that company on Shark Tank, and what I said on the video was literally, and I went, it is a little light version. My wife got so annoyed. She was like, I don't even want to watch I don't even want to watch TV anymore right now because you're just going off. I went off for like an hour. We were in bed and I was still going off on it. I was like, how dare they? This is dumb. How did they get on Shark Tank for this? And she was like, just let it go, honey. It's fine. It's all right. Like,
no, it's not okay.
No, it's not okay. So yeah, it was, yeah. It is a fun video. If you are looking for a personal cocktail beverage thing, go check it out. I might need to tag it a little bit different, or maybe like re-release it as something else. Like how to build your own, or maybe you're just refilm of how to build your own.
But maybe a thumbnail and a title change.
I'd be happy
to share it on mine as a post as well. So let me know if you've jazzed it up at all, and I'll share it as a post on my channel because it was a great video.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I think it needs a different spin. I got what I wanted out of that particular first part, but I think the build aspect is much more effective than the initial spot. But yeah, I like it. So hey,
made in America.
What about
none of your parts are made in America?
Exactly. It was like, oh, the can. So they talk about welding their can, and so, but everything else is like, I know exactly where that part is at. You can go on Jeff's Discord and get it on AliExpress or Jeff's AliExpress
like
account.
$6.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, no, it's Chinese made. Lego driving video games. Actually, this game, we're gonna go into a little bit one gaming thing. I really like this. I loved this game idea. It's like Mario Builder plus Driver.
Yeah, it's Mario Maker meets Mario Kart, but with Lego. And holy crap, exactly. I'm so on board.
This is so cool. It's like, my only question is, how true are the physics? Because I really want it to be really true. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I understand they got to make it a little bit extreme, but my goodness, look, you can make a hamburger kart race car and have it go. I watched the trailer, and guys, go click on the link in the description below. It's really an amazing trailer. I think this is going to be a fun thing, and best part too, open world dynamic too. That's awesome. This is a really cool looking game. So what it is, it's Lego 2K Drive. And
I'd play the video, but they'd instantly copyright strike me.
Exactly. That's BS. Why I said go. Exactly.
I'm a news agency right now. Dang it! I can play videos as long as I credit them, and if I'm on the website, it's credited.
So it's the same people that do like the NBA sports, the WWE. It looks visually really good. I mean, the maps look great. Which is not a map; it's an open world area. It's an open build area. I believe it talked, what was it? 100,000 different pieces you can
Yeah.
build from.
Anyone who's
it's
ever played one of the Lego Maker games or even the Lego Engineer application where you have access to like Lego's entire back catalog of pieces, those are all in here plus more to build cars that you can go drive. It's like Spore but with Legos but without the terrible gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, and you can go up to 6 players per race. So again, it's like Mario Kart. You got Lego build, you got Mario build. It is so much. It's coming out May 19th. I think this is going to be a super fun game.
Yep.
I hope the engine and the concept of this actually is developed more into something like, I would love to see something like this. And what was that soccer race car game?
Rocket League?
Or not race. Rocket League.
Yeah.
Wow, how awesome would be like this in Rocket League, but your cars start breaking.
Yeah.
You know, so, something like a Lego sports race car sports or something like that would be so cool. I'm really, this looks super cool. My son right now is really into the Mario build and something like this, I think, and he loves Mario Kart. So this, I'm looking forward to. So right now it's coming out for PC, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One. We're looking and PS5. You're looking at that typical $60 range.
Yep.
Really cool stuff.
There's also an Awesome Edition and an Awesome Rivals Edition. Those will run $100 and $120 respectively. No idea what the upgrades are or DLC components are. Comes out May 16th on all platforms. I'm assuming it will be available on Steam. Yeah, this for me is a day one purchase. I haven't seen the game yet. I guarantee as soon as I see like real world gameplay, I'll be all in.
Oh yeah.
Lego
just
Wreckfest,
the trailer alone looks really good.
Wreckfest is one of my favorite games of all time, and it's developed by Bugbear, which was the original developer for Flat Out, which is again one of my favorite games of all time. I love the destruction derby, destructible environments, destructible vehicles type of racing. And I like games that do go a little bit towards absurdity when it comes to physics, like real world physics. And if they crashed this hard, this would happen, but I can still drive afterwards. I like that. I like the, gosh, what is the, No, your Burnout series of games. I love the crash simulators and
yeah.
If anyone has ever seen what is there's a game on Steam right now, and it's been there forever. Hold on, let me look it up. I have it.
But I mean, like you were saying, Crash Simulator, but Legos would be amazing of this. And another thing I love is this kind of like Mario Kart-esque, but hitting into each other. I hope it's kind of like a wreckage to where, you have a limitation. I don't know. The idea of this is really cool. I hope they play with it. I hope it gets better. It's a lot of the Lego builder games are just mindless fun. And that's the thing. Games don't have to be complicated.
Right.
Again, there's like that whole meme. Games were meant to, there's an easy mode because games are meant to be fun. Yeah. If you want to do it challenging, fine, go do challenging. But games are just meant to be fun. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, if you can have fun with it, have fun with it.
Oh, what is that game called? There's a game on Steam that is like the 7th or 8th generation iteration of a game that was released as like a free tech demo that someone created. And it was a game called Stairfall. And it was a game that came out in like 1999 or 2000, and you can download it for free. And what it was you pushed a crash dummy down a flight of stairs and tried to get the most damage on this crash dummy based on how you pushed it. And every limb and ligament and impact and velocity of impact and angle of impact made a difference on how injured your dummy was at the end of the bottom of the flight of stairs. And then they went on and they made a couple different iterations of that, but then it became a full-fledged like indie style game. That sounds fun. And it's available for iPad and a couple other platforms, but it's the same type of game where you have crash test dummy. Yeah, it's stair dismount.
Stair
Oh,
dismount.
Dismount.
There it is.
Dismount Simulator. I'm trying to think of what the game name is on Steam. Dismount. Turbo Dismount. There we go. Turbo Dismount. If you like that absurdist crash test dummy, knock a crash test dummy into traffic by pushing him in front of a bus and see what happens, Turbo Dismount. It's a hell of a lot of fun.
It's essentially Buster, but a video game.
Right.
For Mythbusters.
Yeah. No, it's Buster from Mythbusters if it were in a video game, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You can tweak a whole bunch of different things. There's a whole bunch of different dummies with different properties, but the original was literally called Stair Dismount, and it was a free downloadable game that was made as like a tech demo of like, hey, look at our ragdoll physics. Ha ha ha. And then it turned out it's a lot of fun to push a crash dummy down a flight of stairs.
So, we got just a couple minutes. Do you want to do Trek or chat?
I don't know if we could dive into Trek.
Because it's so good.
Oh my god.
Honestly, I have to say best Trek
ever
so far. Ever, basically,
right.
since DS9.
Right. I'm right there with you.
I mean, the season is you could have gone from Nemesis to this.
I'm fine. I called season 3, episode 2, the best episode of Star Trek that I've seen in 20 years. And I stand by that. However, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were even better.
Oh my god! Yeah. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler
by the way, we might
I will try to be as entirely spoiler free as possible.
We will not. Yes, no, we will just do fan based enjoyment.
I might.
Oh my god!
I might mention a couple broad points, but I'm not going to dive into any specific details.
No, I mean we're in the season, but still we will not do that. But my god, this is oh yeah.
This is,
you know,
I don't use this term lightly. This is a love letter to Star Trek.
Oh, it so is. I mean, and okay, I enjoyed like
no spoilers in chat either. I've got eyes on you.
Yeah, there we go. I enjoyed season 1, season 2. There are episodes I didn't like. You could.
I gave it a C- and a B. Like, and I stand by those ratings. Where
this season, nothing but A's.
I am
nothing but A's.
Nothing but A pluses, and I have been on the edge of my seat and audibly squealed multiple times.
Oh yeah, I'm just like, why wasn't this season 1?
Right.
Whole time.
Right. I've actually like grabbed my wife's arm and went, no way.
Oh,
no.
It's been great. And honestly, like when I saw the trailers, I'm like, oh, they're bringing X back and this person
why are
back.
they doing
no,
it? It's just fan service.
It's just, but then the way they twisted, like, oh, they did it perfect. They literally did it perfect.
What I will tell you is, without any spoilers, I hate vehemently when TV shows get to a point where the characters are simply a vehicle for a story that the writer wanted to tell, and they're shells of themselves, where the characters themselves have no identity. And I think the place I usually go to point this out is Seth MacFarlane cartoons. You go to American Dad, you go to Family Guy, and whatnot. And the first 2, 3, 4 seasons are excellent television because you're putting these characters into absurd situations, but it's all very organic in as far as how the situations happen and what the characters' reaction to those situations are. The characters develop through these situations, and they develop their own language and mannerisms and so on and so forth. And they really do become their own living beings. The problem is when you get writers who get a joke in their head, and I know writing is way more difficult than I'm making it out to be right now, but what I'm saying is when a writer gets the joke in their head and they get that joke approved, and then they have a character who would never say that joke ever say that joke, that character is now just a vehicle for whatever plot point you wanted to make. where characters start acting way outside of what their character boundary would normally be. And being a human, being a character, being a I don't want to say predictable, but expected set of characteristics, beliefs, morality, mannerizations, that all matters in the storytelling just as much as the plot points do themselves. And you can see where Seth MacFarlane pulls out of seasons of Family Guy.
I'm now a voice and not a writer. Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, you get characters that are acting entirely alike. Every character has the same tonality, the same joke delivery, and are put in the same weird situations where they honestly don't belong. And you lose interest in it. How does that relate to Trek? I kind of expected that out of season 3. I expected them to be like, well, let's make it a TNG reunion and we'll just bring these characters back. And yeah, 20 years have passed, but it'll be just like old times. Like, you know, Worf is still like this badass warrior and blah, blah, blah.
Kind of how the one episode with Riker where they're like, hey, let's cook some pizza and shields up. And
yeah, Belay
it
burnt tomato.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, okay,
that. Like it was a little endearing because of where he was at in his life. But what I will say for season 3, particularly talking about season 3, is I was so afraid it was just going to be 100% fan service and 0% actual character acting. There was going to be they are there as vessels of the story, not necessarily to tell a story that the character is experiencing, and that is a fine line. And it is a pretty deep critique of storytelling as a whole. But what I'll say is every character has their own desires and ambitions and morality and the way they view the world. And even some of the minor characters and even some of the fringe characters that were just introduced. There's Captain Shaw, who
I was gonna say, honestly, best new character.
I love
best
Shaw.
Best new character. I could probably even take a whole season of Shaw and 7 of 9. I might even like that.
I want to start.
I probably enjoy it.
I want to see what happens when the Titan goes back to regulatory service and it's Shaw and 7 exploring.
You know, galaxy. I mean the jabs that. Okay, so there's. I don't think this is a spoiler, so I will say that. But the jabs he takes at Picard and especially Riker,
I love him.
It was just like, oh, that's good.
There's this one point where Riker goes, son, do you know how many times we've saved the galaxy? And he goes, well, I know how many times you saved the galaxy when it was your own damn fault. I remember the time that you left a saucer section on Viridian 4. I remember the time that you tore the universe in half and created a time differential with 3 different versions of the Enterprise that almost blew up all of Continuum. I remember this. I remember that. I remember, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, why were you in that situation in the first place? Because your own bravado got you there, and I don't respect you. And it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, that was great. And the actor Todd
Stallwick. Yeah.
Stallwick, thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful job of acting it and everything. It's just like
two of the top 10 monologues in Trek history. Like,
yeah,
guaranteed.
It's great. It is so great. I'm so glad they didn't, because my thought early on was he was just going to be a jerk.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's actually not a jerk. He's kind of actually a super fan, because we see that in the latest
we
previous
see it with the character, where he's fawning over like, oh my god, I'd love to get that with you, but we got shit to do, and then they move on.
Exactly. So we see he's actually a super fan, but he's like, not of your guys,
right?
Of this other era and these other people of your generation, and so that's the best. It's like it literally is just like you or I, Steve, read of like, these are our favorite characters, these are our favorite people, and it's like, again, it's the best of fan service, but they did it in a really good storytelling way by adding to the characters' development and personality
It's
really well.
It's one thing when you have a story you want to tell as a writer, and you say, well, we're going to use these 5 characters to tell that story. It's another thing entirely when you say this circumstance or this series of events is taking place. How would these characters react?
Yeah.
And again, we're getting into esoterica of like media breakdown and what is good storytelling. What I'm telling you is Star Trek Discovery, as much as I tried so hard to want to like it, because it was the only Star Trek we had, damn it. Like, we got the J.J. Abrams thing, which is like, cool, we carved our own path. Oh, we're right back to Wrath of Khan. Okay. Like, it was like, okay, I like what you're doing. I like the characters, but at the same time, it's like, tell your own story. You have every excuse in the galaxy to tell your own story, and instead you tried to just rehash another story, but your characters didn't fit the mold that you created for them. So, yeah.
And then the new story you gave was horrible.
But then with Discovery, I'm like, cool. Like, we're still a prequel, which I'm not a fan of because it's an ends to a mean. And whatnot. But I'll buy. I'll tag along for a little bit. As soon as they said sequel, as an SQL vulnerability. As in good old Bobby Tables.
I
was out.
No.
Because
I will
don't
say,
have any respect for the material.
What is it? What was the new pre-Kirk?
Strange New Worlds.
That's actually
Also
a great
badass.
season. That I
God,
will
I love
say,
Strange New Worlds.
And Strange New World, but though the thing they did, I really appreciate is they went very episodic.
Mm-hmm.
They went very character based. They really developed individual characters per episode, which Discovery did not.
Right.
It was a continuous story, and then we were just to assume, oh, these characters, and here's their background. It's like that doesn't work.
Strange New Worlds basically did a holodeck episode.
They
it wasn't a holodeck episode, but what they did was they did a mind control episode where a creature is telepathically controlling the crew and going like, I want to play out this story. And so you have this crew that is assuming characters out of a storybook, and I freaking loved it.
And what I love too is they still certain episodes, and I forget what the terminology is, but where they use like only like a hallway and 2 other sets.
Yeah.
You know, they still do that. It's the bridge, a person's the sick bay or quarters, and a hallway.
Right.
That's it. That's all they do. There's no other sets. And they use and it's a practical set too. So with Strange New World, a lot of it really, really good. But back to Picard season 3. This particular season, homage to everything. Everything's been fan service, and it's been fan service, but to tell the right story too. They're even playing homage correctly to other characters, other seasons. Even the villains in this one are playing a proper homage to previous seasons and other series.
There's references to other characters who have evolved from their previous dwellings. We know of Admiral Janeway. Admiral Janeway's been canon for a very long time. We see that in
Nemesis.
Nemesis, obviously Janeway shows up, but we also see that in Star Trek Prodigy, and we've had references to that a couple of different times through Star Trek Picard. But we're starting to get other names that are being dropped, like Odo, where Worf references, like I was told by a good friend of mine, in the Great Link, that such and such is going on, and it's like, wow, like they are so incredibly meticulous with respecting the established stories and canon that have taken place, and the characters themselves, both as they existed and in the 20 years since, that they're not just the same characters. They come in with new motivations. And I think it's no surprise that every main TNG character has been reintroduced. It's been all of the interwebs that, you know, Marina Sirtis and LeVar Burton and everyone else is a part of Star Trek Season 3, so I don't think it's anything extreme to say that Geordi had very different motivations coming in to his introduction than I expected, but I totally bought them 100%.
Well, what was so funny is especially the last episode was that I loved. Well, I have to say I love the interaction between Picard and Riker,
Mhm.
and it almost seemed I have to say this. I think the Patrick Stewart almost is better acting. It's almost like he's now in a comfortable shoe. It really is, because they're just playing off each other, and it really feels like they're like, we're back in it already. I have someone to riff off of, and it's so much. I'm more comfortable.
The chemistry
not saying he did
on screen between
is so
every character, not just the mains, but every.
But that's
character.
it. That's it. And then when Geordi comes back in and then sees, the lore, the data, the I forget the actor's name.
The Golem played by
Golem.
Brent.
It's
Brent Spiner.
Brent Spiner. Yeah, exactly. It's right back.
Yeah.
Even how he talks to him. It's like
Hashtag no spoilers, John.
Sorry.
Careful.
I couldn't.
Careful.
But
Y'all got
every
another
actor
song I can play.
Every actor, and actually, I kind of like that, the way they spun that.
I do too.
I do have a visual critique. There was a visual critique I noticed of a episode.
We got 3 minutes left, so let's wrap it up. Go.
Stating where Data was fully capable, and then they mentioned here's not Lors, but B whatever
B4's?
his younger body. Not full. Just saying. A visual cue I noticed. Not fully capable.
Data was a later model.
So maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
We got a little bit of that. I mean, maybe that's
why
Lore was
I
so
wonder what
angry.
they did. Yeah, maybe what did they do to the Golem? Don't know.
Right.
Don't know.
Right.
So my 2 cents on that. Yeah.
I will say, Geordi came back, and I got a little choked up because Geordi for me,
It was
than
good.
anyone else. Geordi for me was my hero growing up. Like, I loved Riker. I dressed up as Riker twice for Halloween in my childhood.
Well, again, back to Shaw. I mean, again, that's what the best scene was.
Right.
Was Shaw.
But there's another scene that I literally had a tear dropping down my cheek, and in the best, most heartfelt way possible. And I cannot tell you what that scene is until after the season, because it'd be a spoiler. But there's a moment where a couple characters make eye contact, and one word is spoken, and I just went, tear, snot bubble, like the whole 9 yards. Like, I was there. Like, man.
I will state my only real critique is the actor who plays Crusher's Beverly Crusher's
don't go any further.
Beverly Crusher's partner.
Partner in
a
crime.
Little too old.
How's that?
Partner in crime. Yeah, partner in crime. A little too old. Because he's supposed to be 23. He's physically 34.
I've known 23-year-olds with that chiseled jaw.
I'm talking wrinkles around the eyes. He's 34 and he's supposed to be 22, 23.
I know. But I
that's literally my only critique. I'm like, I'll let it pass. Because honestly, I like him. So far, he's doing a great job.
John,
so
he's lived a hard life.
And that's what I give it. It's like, okay, he lives a hard life, and he apparently he drank a lot of Romulan ale. So
no, he's a whiskey guy. Cheaper the better.
That's right. That is true. So Jameson cask make is cheap, by the way.
Right.
That is in the show.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's canon now. Jameson's the cheap shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been Talking Heads, episode 278. Thank you all so much for watching on this Wednesday night. Check us out next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to Hops and Brews if you like the beer content on this channel and want to see more, and possibly some special guests from here and there. John, anything to add? Good to the order. You got 2 days of your beer fast left. How you?
2 days left. Hopefully videos are coming out. You'll see some of the reviews locally really quickly of these coming up probably next week. And maybe we'll do something with that a special cake thing.
Yes.
Cocktail dispenser, whatever.
We got 2 members chiming in. Tech Eco 1 says, late to the party, just got home, but I'm here. Craft Computing. That was that dragon's milk you were looking for? Been meaning to see if I can find it. There was a dragon's milk I was looking for. There was actually someone who reached out who wanted to clarify which ones. They were the dragon's milk red ale and dragon's milk.
New,
What was the other one? What was the other new flavor? There's 2 new flavors. I want them
There's
both.
2 new flavors. The red ale is the one.
The red ale especially. I have to have the red ale.
That would be amazing.
So yes, yeah. If you don't see it on the channel within the next month, reach out again. Get me some. Net Guy, member 15 months. Thank you very much again. I was overserved by this establishment last week in the after party. I plan to repeat. Join the Discord. Yes, join the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. Gets you access to the Discord server where you can hang out in the after party and chat all week long with all the hosts from Talking Heads. Myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all of them, including occasionally special guests like Ian Cuttress, Techno Tim. Like, they're in the Discord too. So yep, reach out. And we got a late super chat. You're lucky I took this long at the outro. Tech Geek with $4.20. Nice. This super chat is not sponsored by Linode. Hey, you didn't get paid for that, so I'm gonna make you forfeit all
Take
that
all
money.
of it.
So
yeah.
Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you next week.
See you guys.
Cheers, everyone.